What's going on, Detroit Lions fans? Detroit Den 313, Stephen Will. Real quick, shout out, new member rejoining Fried, I believe is how you pronounce that. Fried or Fried, I don't know. 365. Also, Mary Smith wanted to clarify, you rejoined. You were a member, been a member for a long time. Appreciate you. Always looking forward to your comments. I'm sure you'll be one of the first 5 commenters on here today. Will, what's going on?
Yes, sir.
How's life?
Life is good, man. Life is good. My daughter Roxy's birthday today, turned 17. That's right. I know it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe a baby face like this.
Not that hard to believe.
17, yeah. Unbelievable. Unreal. But yeah, turned 17 today. Happy birthday, Roxy. Love you. Yeah, just doing all of the birthday stuff, then football training, and all of the goodies, you know, same old. But Detroit Lions news today, Steve. I think it's I don't want to say huge news, but I think it's news, and I think it's kind of a big deal. And I think the potential of this and where he's gonna go could be interesting too. But Skip, man, Dan Skipper, reporting and retired today, man. How you feel about it, man?
Eligible to become a coach. That's what we're gonna say. He's eligible. Man. I'm glad he's retiring a Detroit Lion. I'll say that because when he got cut out of training camp, I thought someone would scoop him up. He did the Dan Skipper route. Hey, I'm going to stick it out. I'm going to grind this thing through. I'm going to join this practice squad, and I'm going to get my chance. I'm going to take it. He had a role on this team. I loved him for his role as the swing tackle, the extra guy that we bring in. I'm happy that he's hanging him up as a Detroit Lion. I hear he's going to coach the East and West. He's going to be on the East team for I think it's college football, right? The East-West Shrine Bowl, or is that high school?
Yeah, the Senior Bowl.
Senior Bowl. Is that what it's? I've never heard it called that. I've always just referred to it as the Senior Bowl, so I wasn't 100% sure what that meant. So, hey, it looks like he's taken his talents to coaching. And I'll tell you this, Will, I'm not surprised. I think it was last year. I think it was just a segment in a show, but we talked about who was likely to be an NFL coach on the current roster, and I picked Dan Skipper. I'll tell you this, within 4 years, he'll be an NFL head coach.
Head coach?
Head coach, I'm calling it. I think he's going to be a damn good coach. 4 years, maybe 5.
I'll take that bet. What are we talking?
Well, you can't remember what you had for dinner 3 days ago. I know you're not going to remember a bet 4 years from now.
Yeah, Dan Skipper, I will. But Dan Skipper's not going to be a head coach in 4 years. I guarantee it. Bank on that. But if you're telling me that he might be an O-line coach in 4 years, I could definitely see that. Dan Skipper, I could see being an asset to an NFL team, college team, for sure. It seems to me, Steve, a lot of the time, the guys that are grinders, man, the guys that had to face some adversity, the technique really mattered because they weren't overly talented. I think those are the guys that become phenomenal coaches because at the end of the day, they had to be technical. They had to make sure that they executed the minor details because otherwise they would have been shipped out of the league.
Same as Dan Campbell. That's what I said when we talked about it before. Dan Campbell, just not an all-pro, not a Pro Bowl type tight end, just going to show up, do his work, get ugly in the trenches, be technical, be savvy, be a grit guy. I see a lot of Dan Campbell in Dan Skipper. I'm telling you, 4 years head coach, maybe in college, but he's going to be a head coach somewhere. Will, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Dan Skipper moment?
The touchdown. What are we talking about? The absolute weapon. What are we
Buffalo
talking
Bills
about?
game last year?
Yeah, I'm confused why he wasn't used more. It's an absolute mismatch. I feel like he's retiring before his wide receiver tight end career really got started. Listen, this may go down in history as the biggest offensive weapon unutilized. I think that might be a trivia question for Detroit Lions trivia people, man. But definitely the touchdown. What about you?
I can't remember which game it was. It was a game last season. Lions win. Dan Campbell's in the locker room giving his speech, and he takes a little pause and just says, "Hey, Skip, keep doing what you're doing over there." The camera guy pans to him, and Skip's just losing it in a trash can, just showing us his corn dogs. I was just I don't know. I got a good laugh out of that one. But absolutely, I remember being in Cincinnati too. I think it was like the first game he actually split out wide, and I was like, "What is Dan Skipper doing here? Is he about to burn someone on a go ball here? What's happening? And I think it ended up being a run play. But yeah, good times. Always like to watch Dan Skipper get out there. I think he's a fan favorite. I like hearing all the cheers when he comes in and the refs announce that he's an eligible receiver, kind of mocking the referees from a couple years ago. On my anniversary, my wedding night was the tackle situation in Dallas, so I will never forget it. December 30th, 2023 was the tackle eligible. I'll never forget, a day that I'll always remember, William. Shame on the refs.
Steve, a little Twitter news. Live on the show here. Dan Skipper taking over for Hank Fraley as no, I'm just joking. Just joking. But
looking to see what's going on.
No, serious question though. Is that something that you could see potentially a few years down the road? Maybe he taking over for Hank?
Well, he might be taking over for Dan. He might be. I'm telling you, I think he's going to be a head coach. I don't know. There's a lot of different cards that'll have to fall. He's definitely not ready to be in any major type of role. I could see him coming on and kind of starting his coaching career. A team will probably pick him up as an offensive line coach or something like that. Maybe a run game coordinator type thing. I don't know. He'll have to start at the bottom and work his way up. But I don't know. Just something about Skip, man. I just think he's like a guy that's just going to command the room. That's what a lot of teams are looking for, is that leadership. A lot of teams don't want the nerdy style of Mike McDaniel. They want that leader to come in and be, in charge of the clubhouse. So I do think Dan Skipper is going to be a good coach. I don't know where he's going to start or who's going to give him a shot, but it's just a matter of time. I think I'll be looking forward to seeing him in the Senior Bowl. Honestly, I think I'll probably have my eyes on him more than anyone else, other than maybe some talent we're looking at. But it's a story within the story. I'll have my eyes on.
I'd be interested to see if the Detroit Lions pick him up as an assistant. He's not gonna be the O-line's coach or run game coordinator, pass game coordinator, nothing like that. Yeah, he's not gonna have a pivotal job, but somebody with that type of knowledge, man, to be able to, because essentially he comes in as a swing tackle. He's a utility tackle to replace, anybody or any tackles on the offensive line. You got to know a lot to be able to be utilized in that capacity. So I don't know, man. I'd be interested to see. And I like the just direct decisiveness that he has about what he wants to do. Hey, I'm hanging these cleats up because I'm sick of battling to try to be, a guy at the end of a roster. I really want to go coach, and I want the world to know. So the Lions are on notice, man. Let's see if they grab him.
I got a question. If we're done with the Dan Skipper talk, I want to get your input on nothing blindsiding. What do you think of St. Brown's comments the other day on his podcast about Lions fans? And I know we already kind of hinted on it with trying to ask fans to stay calm and give this a chance, but I think it was like the next morning I'm seeing St. Brown's addressed in the same issue, and he's obviously got a way bigger platform. How did you feel about that?
Thankful was the first thing. I felt thankful for a person of that stature. Then my next, I'm gonna take you through all the emotions. The next emotion was worried. How is this going to impact his image? Because he said it in a matter-of-fact way. Yeah. And then he tried to clean it up afterwards. Like, hey, listen, I love all Detroit Lions fans, but I think it needed to be said, because it's really a kind of a messed up deal for a guy to be coming into town and us to be shitting on him. And if you think that these guys don't look at podcasts and Twitter, you're wrong. Like, they're human beings just like us. And that's speaking from somebody who's rubbed elbows with a lot of people in these positions. They look at Twitter. And for those of you who think, they don't look at Twitter, even the ones that don't look at Twitter, their mommies, their daddies, their uncles, their friends, and their cousins look at Twitter and these YouTube podcasts. And then they tell them, hey, these guys are saying this, these guys are saying that. So it gets to them one way or another. And I think that it's just horrible that this dude is coming to town and getting shitted on by a lot of people, man. To give this dude an opportunity. Now, if he calls plays and he's trash, we're going to get on here and let it be known. Like Johnny Moe, we got on here and we talked our talk, man. It was, like we say, firm but fair. But I'm glad that St. Brown stood 10 toes down and said what needed to be said. A lot of people don't know football. And I'm not saying everybody needs to be a football savant, but for you to see that this guy was 4th in rushing 2 years ago, 6th or 7th in rushing a year ago, and think man, maybe this isn't a fit for the Detroit Lions when we want to run the fucking football. That's what we want to do. We want to run the football and do play action. The world knows it. And we want to play man to man. That's not a secret. So for people to think that this couldn't potentially be a fit, I just think, and I'll say it again, that it's dumb. And I don't mean to be belittling to anybody, but I feel like when you pound your chest like a gorilla and you come on here and say, oh man, this dude is absolute trash. This is horrible. Like Coach Campbell should be fired. Brad Holmes is an idiot. He should be fired. He should be in the hot seat. I should be able to call you dumb because it really is. Because for somebody to be leading are at fourth in the NFL in rushing with James Conner, and you're going to say that he's trash. What do you think that he's going to do with Jahmyr Gibbs if he can get James Conner 1,000 yards? Like, what do you think that he's going to do with Sam Laporta? Right? Because he's already shown what he could do with Trey McBride. And Lord forbid, let us get another tight end in the draft or free agency. Like I think that we're looking at something that could be positive. Was it the sexy pick? No, but it was a darn good, safe pick. Safe. It was a safe pick. I still give it a C+, B-. It wasn't a home run. He's not going to be an innovative or an innovator of new offense that nobody has ever seen. That's not what you're going to get out of him. But you're going to get 11, 12, and 13 personnel. You're going to watch us run the football. You're going to get a lot of motion. You're going to get a lot of play action pass. And Jahmyr Gibbs is probably going to be one of the best running backs and most productive running backs. And it may be a way, Steve, that we keep David Montgomery because of how much he wants. Because how much he wants to run the ball. By the way. Yeah, right. So, but yeah, for how much he wants to run the ball, it may be a way for people to get exactly what they wanted, which was us keeping David Montgomery. So, Steve, I think St. Brown did the Lord's work. I think he said something that needs to be said. Do you feel like I'm on par with that, or where you at?
He's got a voice. St. Brown has a voice, and it's heard. He's got I don't know how many subscribers their podcast has, but I know a lot of people watch it. A lot of those people are Detroit Lions fans. All right, I'm sorry, but Equanimous, a lot of people ain't watching because of you. You happen to be his brother. I get it. We know who's carrying the weight on that show. All right, it's kind of like Steve carrying the weight here with Will, just kind of dragging him along, right. Like just towing him. Let me start with what he said. Let's start here. St. Brown, I love you. You have every right to say what you said. I'm not saying you don't. You're going into year 6. All right. You're talking to a fan base that has never even seen a Super Bowl. Patience are wearing thin. All right. I've been a Lions fan for 30 years, and there's a lot of people watching the show. You guys have seniority. You've been watching for 50, 60, whatever it may be. And I think you can relate to this. We want a Super Bowl. I don't want to get to a Super Bowl. We're one of the 4 teams in the NFL that have never even been to a Super Bowl. We came close. We got a little taste. We want to get there. I feel like since that NFC Championship, we've obviously gone backwards, maybe not in record after the 15-2 season, but the length of the season was shortened compared to the year before when we were a half away from football in a Super Bowl. Let's start there. So going into year 6, you're talking to a fan base that's hungry, a fan base that's been around a long, long time waiting. Second, he said, don't Lions fans trust Dan Campbell? This is the one where I feel like, St. Brown, that might have been the wrong question. That might have been the wrong question asked, because in this context, we are talking about our new offensive coordinator, Drew Petzing. So do I trust Dan Campbell? He struck out on Anthony Lynn. You want to talk Ben Johnson? Dan Campbell didn't even technically hire him on the Detroit Lions. Matt Patricia, he was here before Dan Campbell came to town. He promoted him, but he did not hire him to his staff. And then we had the swing and the miss last year with Johnny Morton. So you're staring at two out of 3 being really bad, and you're getting credit for one that you didn't really hire. So I feel like when we're talking about trusting Dan Campbell, I don't know that I 100% do trust Dan Campbell. I feel like he's got to get this one right. This is a no-brainer. You cannot miss on Drew Petzing. Or we talked about it the other day. Might not be on the hot seat, but you're going to feel a little warmth on the cushion. All right. We spoke our piece about that. The third thing, William, when he said something along the lines, I'm paraphrasing, about Detroit Lions fans don't know ball. Now, when it comes to X's and O's and schemes, I'll admit Amon-Ra St. Brown is 1,000 times smarter than me in that regards, but I can sit in the stands and I can see when something's not working. I can offer ideas on how to fix it as a fan. We knew John Morton. It looked bad from day one. It looked bad before we got to week 1. It looked bad in training camp. We went, we saw, we looked at it, and we even had the conversation. Is it looking bad because the defense is so much further ahead than the offense? Is our defense going to be elite because we know what our offense is, loaded with Pro Bowlers and all pros? Is the defense about to be nasty this year, top 10? Well, looking at how the defense finished and how the offense finished, that's not the case. This defense was not very good. So that offense was struggling against a bad defense in training camp, one we saw. And then it goes up against the good defenses in the NFL, like the Philadelphia Eagles, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Chicago Bears. The second game didn't look sexy. Got absolutely spanked by Minnesota twice. The Green Bay Packers spanked us twice. We're talking about teams with good defenses, and this offense just wasn't clicking. We got the firepower. It wasn't working. So I think we can see when there's an issue. But he's probably right. A lot of people cannot sit down and explain what a nickel package is. I'll give him that regards when we're talking ball, but man, I'd be a little bit more gentle with what you say when the fans are the ones paying your salary. And just speaking for ourselves here, we work weekends. I know if I want to go to my Lions games on Sundays, we have to take vacation. We have to find a way to get there. We pay a lot of money for our season tickets. You're talking to people who are buying your jerseys, sacrificing their time. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying maybe the delivery should have been a little bit more careful.
Yeah, I can respect that take, Steve, but I disagree because sometimes there's no greater teacher than pain. And I think that probably hurts some people's feelings. But I think it might, maybe not right away, but, the next day or, a few weeks later, you got to take a strong look at yourself and say, man, or if this dude ends up working out for sure, you got to say, oh, man, Petzing, yeah, he's phenomenal. You got to take a strong look at yourself and say, man, maybe I should have gave this guy a shot right out of the gate instead of just shitting on him. Same thing with it's been similar situations with J-Mo, man. There's so many people that were coming on and saying, dude's got no hands, he drops everything. We need to cut him. People were talking about releasing J-Mo, releasing him.
Trading him.
Yeah, so people say crazy things. Some of the things that get put into the comments, some of the conversations that we have personally. And honestly, Steve, I think that comparing yourself isn't fair because football, man. And especially if we're talking about fandom. Like for somebody that's sitting in the stands, football. And I just think the growth from this podcast itself, the things that we have to know, polish up on, brush on, or whatever. Like football. Most people don't know what personnel is. People can't tell you what a 1 technique, 3 tech, 7, 6, 9 technique. They can't tell you 4. Like they can't tell you what we're relying on. They can't tell you what defense we're in. Most people can't tell you that stuff, man. The formationally, what we run most. Like it's interesting to me. People can have such strong opinions, but not even be able to tell me, hey, what do we run? Hey, what's our base defense? What's our base offense? What personnel are we in the most? Right? When is Jared Goff most successful? It's just certain situations, man, and certain things that you need to know if we're going to have a true football conversation. Now, most people are going to say he sucks or they're phenomenal. That's it. You ask him why. Oh, Jad, he's just really good, man. He just throws a super good ball. He does, like they're not going to tell you, the real things that you need to know and understand to be. And I don't even look at myself as some football savant, but I know enough to be able to have a different level of conversation than some of the conversations that just say, hey, we hired this dude that I never heard of. He sucks. Now, while we're on the subject, I do want to say this, Steve. Yesterday, I finally got an opportunity. And one thing I'll stand on, and I didn't get it from myself, I got to give Coach Fair, I'm always mention Coach Fair. He was one of my coaches at Tiffin, but before he came to Tiffin, he was a recruiter for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and or a scout. And I got a chance to see his scouting sheet and go on some scouting with him. And one of the things that he said was, I should be able to turn on any game and watch you be a dog. I shouldn't have to say, oh, man, let me go through the stats and see, let me see what you did. No, I should be able to turn on any game and see the things that I need to see. And if I don't, we got to have questions there, Steve. So I just started turning on Cardinals games. I didn't look at any statistics. I just started turning on Cardinals games. And I did it from 2023, 2024 into last season. And what I seen, I was okay with. Now, I will be honest and say I didn't see things that I've never seen before or something crazy innovative, but I seen 11 personnel, 12 personnel, 13 personnel. I'm going to run the ball at you. Deal with it. And I'm excited for it. I'll be honest. I'm excited for it. There is some play action. There is some motion. And I like those things as well. He takes some shots down the field. And I will say this, and I don't mean it to be disrespectful, Steve. I had no idea, and I need to apologize to Drew Petzing because Kyler Murray fucking sucks. He's really bad. Like, that's what I gathered from watching the
Jacoby
film.
Brissett did play better for them than Kyler Murray did.
Oh my goodness. Like, this dude getting Jared Goff, we might find out that this dude is a beast because Kyler Murray is trash. Running the offense, executing the offense, stopping the plays, looking where his helmet was and who was coming open and him missing and taking off with his feet. My goodness. If this dude gets Jared Goff and Jared Goff digests and understands his offense and hits the open guys, there were so many open guys that Kyler Murray missed. And by missed, I mean did not throw them the football. I don't mean threw them the football and then it was like, okay, bad throw. No, I'm talking about guys running wide open and Kyler Murray throwing the ball to somebody else or taking off with his legs. Jared Goff is going to be he's going to make them exponentially better. I promise you. That's just after watching 10 random games. And I haven't even got a chance to really take a weekend and dive into it. It made me way more excited. Just the thought of us going into the draft or free agency and shoring up this offensive line. I truly think Petzing could come here and be a problem. Do I think that he'll be a guy as creative as Mike McDaniel? No, I don't. But I think that he could be a really good coach in the NFL with the weapons that we have here in Detroit. And again, I'm actually excited about it.
I did a little homework yesterday too, Will. Someone left a comment on our show the other day and said to check out the Crunch Time guys, that they had a reporter on from the Arizona Cardinals that works for ESPN. So I was interested. Give myself more information. I like the Crunch Time guys. They're probably one of the few Detroit Lions podcasts I can stand. I think it's fun because I think podcasts with more than one person is more entertaining to have some conversation, go back and forth, a little banter, a little fun. And they have the same type of situation that we do. A couple of, I think they're at 4 people one time. I think it might be down to 2. I don't know, but good show. Check them out. I just can't stand one guy sitting and looking at a screen. I hate doing solo shows too. So it's just better. But they had this guy on and they asked him some great questions and he brought up some stuff that I'm going to be paying attention to about Drew Petzing. And they're still praising the hire that he's gone. They're so glad to get rid of him. And they asked the question, well, do you think that he was unsuccessful because the Cardinals just lacked the personnel and the players? Do you think he'll be better in Detroit? And this guy was just like, no, he's not going to be any good in Detroit. In other words, he was kind of, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but he said some things, just pay attention to like the inconsistencies or the lulls or the change of adjustments. So just things to keep an eye on. And we're going to do that. He's got 8 months before he even calls a play. So just some stuff that I'll be paying attention to starting in preseason and when we get rolling. But I'm with you. The hire really grew on me. My initial reaction was underwhelmed as I sat back and looked at it. Like, we're trying to take the Cardinals and turn them into the Detroit Lions, and that's just not possible. Like, I do mean this with disrespect. The Cardinals suck compared to the Detroit Lions. Like, we're a far better team. We're far better roster, more depth, more talent, up and down. So I think when he is getting more talent, I think that's where he's going to really be successful. So I'm more and more excited, but he is going to be very, very much under the microscope this whole offseason. I think Will's having technical difficulties here as we speak, judging by the text.
Yeah, guys, apologize. My audio went out.
Unreal.
Just trying to run a business here.
We can still hear you.
Steve, bring us home, baby.
We can still hear you if that was the issue. I don't know if you can hear me, but all right. I guess Will's gone. So just wanted to hop on here, talk a little news and rumors. Dan Skipper, the St. Brown comment situation, some stuff about Coach Petzing still. Stick around, hit that like button. We'll be back later with another show.